But, you know, she went through some very many bad things in her life, if
Oh,
you
I know. I read her book.
All right, well, then you know it's not that easy to hang on to things and keep things in the,
yes.
you know, what she went through and everything.
Right.
So, and when you move around and pack and travel, I know, because I've lost a lot of my things, too. But, yeah, I'll give you her address. You know, tell her I said hello and everything. And I'll show you the picture that she usually gives everybody, you know, and it's just a copy of a copy of a copy, you know. Well, okay, so anyway, now we know how the striptease got started. These are all from the 40s way back. And this is Jayne Mansfield's ottoman right now.
Girl room.
And that's Jayne Mansfield sitting in this very same ottoman. And this happens to be Marilyn and Jayne and Marilyn. They were under contract with the same studio. They had no intentions of making a big star out of Jayne. They had too much money invested in Marilyn at the time. Now you probably say, "Oh, what has she got Shirley Temple in this museum for?" Well, Shirley Temple's first motion picture was Baby Burlesque, which was a bunch of little babies putting on a burlesque show.
Yep.
Now you see, that's a direct indication and proof that burlesque was up, alive, and doing well during the 30s. It was very much accepted. And you may want to know why. Well, because we had a caste system in the United States, and the privileged were ushered into special places, and the privileged were ushered into these fine restaurants. The privileged also had private booths, what they sat in, and the reason they wanted to sit away from the common public is they did not want to rub elbows with working class people. There was a class distinction, and they were called the privileged. And the working class knew we're never going to be a part of the privileged, and the owners of the theaters knew it too. There was a very big separation there. So they said, why are we catering to them? It's the working people who's paying the bills for the privileged. Hey, fellas, there's a heck of a lot more of the working class down there than there are the privileged. So if we tailor shows to the working class, you know, it'll be volume. So for 25 cents, the working class could go in and escape this horrible poverty situation that they were trapped in. They could go in and see 20, 30 girls marching forward to the latest song of the day, a Latin dance team, great shows, trampoline acts, juggler acts, and they could also relate to that dumb, stupid comic on the stage. You know, he didn't have any money and he was trying to get by, whereas the big exclusive theaters catered to the long drawing out, and the man always had a big, beautiful, fine home, and he was always so rich. They couldn't relate to that. Well, maybe someday, and they looked up to those people, but it just wasn't them, and it wasn't going to happen. But the other shows, you see, were geared with no plot. The working people didn't want to have to go through a long plot. So that was the key and the success to the burlesque theaters. The old hat box is way over 100 years old. And by the way, since you have your camera there, Sherry Champayne, those are her ashes right there. And Sherry Champayne, everything she had, see, would have to have a champagne glass on it, you know. And this is another thing with champagne on it here, see? Everything.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the old hat box is over 100 years old, and these are all me here. I didn't make 2,500. I was only offered 1,500, the most I was ever offered, and I didn't play it. It was in Tokyo. Now, if you play a foreign country, in my day, of course, they'd have to have 2 or 3 clubs chip in for the fare, 2 or 3 clubs do this, and you go from cab to different places because one club can't afford American salary, you know. And these are all from, did you girls ever play Guam? I understand that they got a lot of
Guam.
So tell me about Guam.
I don't know that much. Well, maybe she said it's kind of a bad thing right now, but I know at one time that they had as many clubs, like Vegas, with lots of lights and clubs and stuff.
I have a cousin that works there.
I heard that too, that it's not too good of a place to work now. One time it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Tuesday I performed at the Improv and she was a stage manager.
Oh, uh-huh.
And her
Actually, I did
agent.
bring you some programs from our
Oh,
show.
yes.
On the improv?
Yeah, from
Oh,
our show.
neat.
So I'll remember to grab those.
Okay, yeah, you
Before I
both
leave.
got darling bodies.
Yeah.
I figured you were in show business somewhere.
Well, actually, it's funny because what my act was, I did a slapstick strip
Oh, uh-huh.
where I staged.
I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I promise.
They started
Yeah.
up they started the music, and I danced to Esquivel. It Had to Be You.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. George Washington was a stripper?
Row, row, row. And I came
No,
out
that's not
and
George,
I
that's
missed
women
my
in drag.
cue, so I ran in
Oh,
late,
sorry.
and everyone was like, "What's going on?"
That's
My
Georgette.
entrance was I tripped and fell, and then I danced, and then I
Oh, that was your
struggled
entrance.
to get
That
my
wasn't.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So everything was kind
Yeah,
of just.
toilet paper hanging out of her cheeks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that must have
Yeah,
been.
so it was a silly striptease.
Yeah, oh, that sounds really good. That's your own act. Yeah, but we're working in a strip club. Yes, I know.
It's getting
Yeah.
really, really competitive.
It's
and
really awful. The
Yes.
working conditions are awful.
I know. That's what I've heard lately.
Yeah,
I know.
North Beach.
Yeah, but you can bring it back, but there's no money in it. You see, they're going to go, like if you had a nightclub and you say, oh, I'm going to have really gorgeous costumes and beautiful shows and everything, and then he's got a place next door that's bottomless, topless, and this and that. And when they say, well, should we go here? Okay, we'll go there next
There's
time.
like a-
We'll go to this, and then the money, the girls are going to pay to work,
Yeah.
on the stage, and you are going to have to pay them to do an act. So it's difficult.
Well,
it can work, but
it
it's
can
not
work.
easy.
And matter of fact, in New York, it's having a revival,
Yes.
and that's because they're outlawing a lot of the strip clubs
Yes.
right now. I think that there's a lot of couples that don't feel comfortable going to a
Oh,
lot of
well,
strip
that's
clubs.
true. Yes,
And there's a lot of younger people that like to go to strip clubs.
I don't have the answer. The answer is each one of these for an individual. Young girls can kind of see a picture and quick get an idea. Oh, I could build an act around that. Do you know what
You
I mean?
have to be inspired.
You have to be, and you have to have it inside yourself.
Right.
You can't just say, "Oh, that looks like fun. I think I'll just be a dancer." It'll wear off. I mean, it has to be a calling, like a priest or something. You want to do this more than anything in the entire world, and you will sacrifice. You can't get a job at the Kmart and then say, "Oh, I've got to clock out. I've got an audition. 2 hours. I'll be back." They'll say, "Clock out. Don't come back." So it's difficult for someone to have a day job that understands you, and you do have to make a living, so you do have to work in dumps and joints and things like that until you can get your niche and you get with a couple people that you're familiar with and you trust and you like, and you're all like that film crew I worked on last night. I could tell they were all highly galvanized, and then that picture may be good, it may be a hit, it may be a flop, but they'll go on to another one because I could tell by the generation that was the power that was within that crew and everything. And oh boy, so they were putting their money and their mouth on the line. Everything they had was going towards this production. So anyway, those are the kind of people that you need around you, people that have really got the ambition and okay, well, enough speeches.
That's wonderful.
It's fabulous.
Well, it's everything
Those
you
are correct.
already know anyway.
Well,
It's just that,
yeah.
it's just sometimes I like to say it again to young people to back them up that they're on the right track, because you
Jeez.
do have something in mind and you will create it. Well, I only get $223
Is
a
this
month
you?
on my Social Security. No, that's Marilyn.
Oh, that's
I get no money at all. but I have no way of knowing who's going to walk in the door next and the press and the publicity. And I just keep going, Now, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, now they were here at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when Jenny Lee
It's
died.
Mickey Rooney.
And now that girl right there is Linda Dahl. Now, Linda Dahl worked in the movies. She was Miss Tulsa of 1958. And Linda Dahl also, where it was in Viva Las Vegas with Elvis Presley. And Linda Dahl just mailed me this yesterday. Oh, not yesterday, a couple of weeks ago. This is Marilyn Monroe's right here. This is Marilyn in the top to it. And I've got to get a nice glass case made for it, because it really needs to be in a preserved and better. But I just have so many projects to do, and that one's going to be an expensive one. When I first was in Hollywood, one of my first acts was what a girl has to go through in order to get a job in the movies. And then I'm signing my big movie contracts, see? Only you really, in real life, you should get the contract first.
Yes. Money up front.
Yeah. Give me the contract first. Okay.